Good morning. This is Mrs. Merrill. Today we're going to be talking about the real number system. This is Learning Target Objective 1.1, Identify Sets of Numbers. Today we're going to learn some names for number sets. To begin, we're going to talk about the real numbers. Real numbers consist of all the rational and all the irrational numbers. The real number system has many subsets: natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. Now, what are natural numbers? Well, natural numbers are the numbers that we use to count. Natural numbers are the set of counting numbers. In other words, when we begin to count, we say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Those are our natural numbers. Again, the natural numbers are simply the numbers that we use to count. Now, whole numbers are the numbers that we use to count plus 0. So whole numbers are the set of numbers that include 0 plus the set of the natural numbers. So you see we have 0 and then the counting numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Integers are the set of whole numbers and their opposites. In other words, they're the numbers that we use to count plus 0 plus all the negatives of those numbers. Notice 0 in the middle. Going to the right in the positive direction, we have 0, 1, 2, 3. The 3 dots mean and so on, continuing. And then if you look at the left from 0, we have -1, -2, -3. Again, you see the ellipsis there, those 3 dots, which means going on in that pattern in the negative direction. So you'd have -4, -5, and so on. The next set of numbers that we need to talk about are rational numbers. Rational numbers are any number that we can express as a fraction. So rational numbers are any number that can be expressed in the form of a over b, which is a fraction, where a and b are integers, and b, which represents the denominator, cannot be 0. Remember, we cannot have 0 in the denominator in our number system. It's considered undefined. Remember that rational numbers can always be expressed by using terminating decimals or repeating decimals. Now, what is a terminating decimal? Well, a terminating decimal does exactly that. It terminates. It stops. Terminating decimals are decimals that contain a finite, which means a specific number of digits. In the examples, you see 36.8. Done. There's no more to it. 0.125. Done. No more to it. And 4.5. Those are all examples of decimals which stop or terminate. A repeating decimal repeats. So a repeating decimal would be a decimal that contains an infinite number of digits, meaning that you can't count how many digits. The digits go on forever. Examples would be 0.333. Notice the 3 dots at the end. The ellipsis there on the end, those 3 dots mean it goes on forever. So that's 0.3333333. Then we have 1.9. See the line over that? That means 1.9 repeating. So that's 1.99999. And then we have the third example, which shows that to be a repeating decimal, the digits must repeat in some specific order. So here we have, notice after the decimal on that third example, we have 0.689, which means that it repeats in the specific pattern after that decimal, 0.689, 689, 689, 689, and again it never stops. Now then, we have irrational numbers, and they are the opposite of rational, meaning that an irrational number cannot be expressed as a fraction. In other words, you can't write it as a numerator over a denominator, a over b. They are expressed as non-terminating, non-repeating decimals. So they don't stop, but they don't have any kind of pattern that repeats. They go on forever without repeating a pattern. If you look, you see some examples of some irrational numbers. Notice the first one. There is no specific pattern in those 3s and 4s. There's a bunch of 3s and there's a bunch of 4s, but there is no specific pattern. It does not repeat the same thing over and over again. The same thing is true in the second example. You'll notice that 0.867458893, again, no pattern and it doesn't stop. Pi in your third example, remember that's something that we use when we calculate circumference and area of a circle. You used that before in some of your math classes. That's an irrational number. Remember 3 is 3.14159 and so on and so on. If you hit the pi key on your calculator, you'll notice that the digits do not terminate and they do not ever repeat in a specific pattern. And then the last example there you see is the square root of 2. Notice that funny little symbol, that's the square root. Square root would be like the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 25 is 5. That kind of a thing. Now, here are some other things I want you to notice. Here are some other things that I'd like you to notice as we go through this. There are some symbols that you need to be familiar with as we go through writing sets of numbers. The ellipsis, see those dot, 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 that's called the ellipsis. And when you see that dot, 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 that means that it's going to continue without end. So if you see a set of numbers written and then you see the dot, 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 the ellipsis, that's what it's called mathematically, it just means that it goes on without end. And then the second thing you'll see are those little bracket looking things. Well, that's set notation. And so when you see those, the numbers will be encased in that. That means a collection of objects or numbers. And we talk about their braces. I guess is what they're really called, braces. They are, you put the set members inside those braces. And then we have the term finite, which I mentioned to you earlier, which means limited. It stops a specific amount. It has boundaries, or it's having bounds. And then we have infinite, which means having no boundaries or limits, meaning that it goes on forever. And then the last thing that you see, we're going to talk about a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram can be used to show answers. We use circles and squares to show the relationships between sets of data. Here's a Venn diagram for you to look at. I'm sure you've seen these before. Here's a Venn diagram representing the numbers that we've talked about, the sets of numbers that we've talked about in our real number system. Notice to the right, we have irrational numbers, and there's nothing else. There's no subsets in that. If it's irrational, it's done. There's nothing else. But notice in the left-hand side with the rational numbers, there are other subsets. Now, what subsets do we have? Well, we have counting numbers. Remember the natural numbers. We have the whole numbers, and we have integers, all inside of that. So those are the subsets. Now, let's look at some examples here, and you can try these on your own. You may want to jot your answers down. Classify the following as natural, whole, integer, rational, or irrational. Now, you have to list all that apply. So remember how within that rational set of numbers there were subsets? So you would have more than one of these names that would apply to some of these specific examples. So like in example A, the 117, well, that's a natural number. It's a number we use to count. It's a whole number because the whole numbers are the natural numbers plus 0. It's an integer because it's a positive, negative whole number. And it is rational because it can be expressed as a fraction, 117 over 1. So all of those for letter A, your answer would be all of them except for irrational, because 117 is a natural number, it's a whole number, it's an integer, and it is rational. So as you go through and try these, you may want to jot down your answers so you can check them here in a minute. All right, here is the way it would look in the Venn diagram. This is the answers represented in the Venn diagram. I wanted to show you this because you can see how the subsets fit into the rational numbers. Notice with the irrational, that's all there is. That negative 12.640939, see, there's no repeating, no terminating. It stands alone as an irrational number. But then if you take a look at the left, see the 117, it's inside every single box. See, it's the natural number 117. It's a whole number because it's inside that box. It's an integer because it's inside that big box. And it is also a rational number because it's inside that box. So you can see how some of these are subsets of each other. Now, I've included the answers if you'd like to look, if you want to check your answers now, or you can check them later. But here you see the sets that each of the numbers in my example are in. The last thing that I wanted to mention to you today is what the term square root actually means, and we want to talk about it in terms of naming our number sets. A square root, remember, is like the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 64 is 8. It's what number times itself will equal that number. Now, when we take the square root of a number, if it's a perfect square, like the square root of 64, which comes out 8, or the square root of 100, which comes out 10, those are perfect squares. I am not talking now in this slide about those. So when you're taking the square root of a number that is not a perfect square, so something like the square root of 21, there is no number times itself that would give you the product 21. So when you are taking the square root of a non-perfect square, the resulting decimal will be non-terminating and non-repeating. Therefore, it will be irrational. So the square root of numbers, except for perfect squares, will always be irrational. And that's something that you might want to kind of remember for your homework later on. That's all I have for today. Thanks for listening. See you tomorrow.